Hey beautiful people, today I'm here to talk about how leadership skills can help you in life. This is one of my personal faves. What would happen if you started thinking about all of your life as an opportunity to be able to build your leadership skills? What would also happen if you started thinking about yourself as a leader in all aspects of your life, because you are responsible for designing, developing, growing, cultivating, building your own life? What would happen if you started thinking about everything that you did through the lens of leadership and how it added to your capacity to be able to lead and develop and grow human beings inside an organization? And what would happen if you started seeing that your own growth and development and your maturity and your wisdom and your experience in life translated very strongly into your ability to be able to do that at work? At the end of this video, I want you to be able to understand how leadership is not just about your career, it's about who you are as a human being. I want you to discover that the trials and tribulations that you've been put through in life are actually preparing you for leadership, because leadership is about resilience, it's about persistence, it's about patience, it's about humility. And those are things that you have learned through everything that went wrong up to now in your life. You'll also learn how strong communication and clarity of purpose are really going to serve you as a leader in terms of how other people see you as valuable and want to follow you. And I want you to be able to take the leadership skills that you learn at work and use them to be able to design an intentional, joyful, beautiful life for yourself. When we think about leadership, we tend to think about it as being in charge. And that makes good sense in a certain way, in that you are responsible for people and you're responsible for doing their reviews and you're responsible for goals and you're responsible for success. But if you switch gears to that and you think about it in terms of how am I harnessing all these amazing resources to be able to contribute something of value to my company, what you do is you tend to move yourself away from the command and control authority position, which sometimes you need to exercise, but very rarely, to an environment where you're actually looking to constantly grow things and add value. It becomes a very generative conversation, and your leadership will follow that generativity and actually create things inside the organization that are of value both to the organization and to the people who work for you. I've been approached many times by women who have taken time out in their career to raise their family, and sometimes the occasional man who's done the same thing, and kudos to you if you have. But kudos to the women as well, of course. But what I've noticed is that they tend to say, oh, I have a gap in my resume. I took 2 years off to, take care of my twins. Well, I don't know about you. I only ever had one child. But taking care of twins looks to me like an amazing exercise in focus, in clarity, in serenity, in emotional maturity, in scheduling, in organizing. And so what I tend to do is I say to women, no. The leadership skills that you learned while you were trying to make sure that two little humans actually survived in the world and got to the next level are leadership skills that I want on my team. You are going to be kinder, you are going to be more patient, you are going to be more humble, you are going to be more respectful, you are going to be more serene, you are going to be able to know what your limits are. Those are skills that I really want on my team. Now, some of us will acquire those skills through other mechanisms other than producing children, of course. But I really encourage you to look at your life and go look at some of the trials and tribulations that you've been through and see how they shaped you as a leader. So I have a really crazy example. I got cancer when I was in my 30s. And I'm fairly public about it because from my perspective, it made me a better leader. It made me patient, it made me more kind, it made me more appreciative of how short and precious life is. It built me enormous discipline in terms of things that I had to do to make sure that I stayed healthy over a longer period of time. And so anyone who speaks to me about it recognizes that I was building my leadership skills while I was recovering from a major illness. Now I was working at the same time, but what I've noticed in there that the people who own the disasters that happen to them in their lives, who own the failures that happen to them in their lives and use them as an opportunity to be able to grow their leadership, are the people who actually make wiser, more mature, more calm, more serene, more powerful, more effective leaders. So I really encourage you to be able to recognize that emotional intelligence and humility and persistence and resilience, however you came by them, I would encourage you to put them on your resume and consider them to be part of how leadership skills actually shape your life and how the leadership skills you learn in your life shape your leadership skills at work. The other thing that you'll recognize in terms of how leadership skills can improve your life is you just get more competent at stuff. You just get more confident about what it is that you're able to do. And as you develop your leadership skills at work, what you'll notice is that you start taking on more in your life. And there's a saying that says, you know, ask a busy person to do something and it'll happen. Ask someone who isn't busy to do something and it may not happen. Because what happens is, as you crank up your leadership capacity, your ability to be able to take on bigger projects, more work, the growth of more people, the higher level of goals, you will start finding ways to be able to really assess your own resilience and assess your own capacity. That, of course, translates into your life. So what you'll find lots of times, and there's actually some good data around this, is that people who are extreme athletes, people who are high-level sports people, people who engage in crazy stuff outside of work are also very, very good leaders. And some of it is because they've tried and failed and tried and failed and tried and failed. And if we set ourselves up to be able to do that, we build a level of confidence and resilience. And I absolutely encourage you to be able to see that the link between those two are so important and so valuable for you as you grow yourself. You cannot go through a change initiative at work or a transformation at work and have a couple of people reporting to you or have 100 people reporting to you and not learn patience, resilience, persistence, innovative capacity, agility. Those are some of the skills that will stand you in good stead for the rest of your life, in all of your life. But they are things that you can learn really quickly on the job if your team is going through a transformation process. If you put yourself into the middle of that and you commit to learn the skills you need in order for that to be successful, and you're observant of them and you catalog them to a certain extent, you will see how they absolutely translate into your personal life at the same time. The mindset shift you're making here is to move from authority to authenticity. And a lot of people are talking about authenticity at the moment. And we talk about it almost the same way we talk about passion at work. How do I find my authenticity? I don't think authenticity is something you find. I think authenticity is something that you grow in awareness of. By nature, we seek to be authentic with each other because that's what builds great relationships. That's what builds joy. That's what builds friendship. That's what allows us to be able to navigate through life and be our real selves without feeling like we're off kilter all the time. But as you start building your authenticity for you as a leader and you start owning leadership that is to a large extent uniquely yours, what you'll find is that the confluence of here's who I am out in the world and here's who I am at work, those things become almost the same thing. And I encourage you to really figure out how to bring those two things together, because then what you'll find is you're doing leadership your way with less effort and you're still producing amazing results. And sometimes you're producing results that other people absolutely couldn't go anywhere near in terms of how successful those results are. So as you start thinking about how leadership impacts your life and you start recognizing that the muscles that I build at work can also be applied to life, and the muscles I build in life can also be applied to work. And if I can do it in two places, I'm going to be even more successful. I encourage you to look at my promotion readiness assessment. Link to it down below in the comments. It's also www.getpromotedassessment.com. And as you start doing that, you begin to build that self-reflective muscle that allows you to be able to think of where you want to lead in your life and where you want to lead at work and how those two can grow and amplify each other. As you do it on your path to authenticity, I wish you the absolute best of luck. Keep coming back here. I'm going to keep talking about this because it is also a path to enormous joy and pleasure in life. I wish you the very best of luck.